guys, thank you very much for joining me. Polina here talking to you about this very incredible new moon in Libra coming to us on the 16th of October 2020. And yes, it is my birthday. I'll be turning 35 on this day, so I'm very excited. Okay, so let's talk about you and the capacity to heal what we have already kind of signed up for. So there is no damage done, okay? If you have been signing up for things because Libra is a time of contracts and compromise, it's all good. And if you're now seeing that some of it is a bit rocky or non-robust, it is fine. It is a beautiful, epic time to clear your mind, to clear your throat, and to know exactly what you're doing and what you are emitting, what you are shifting, what you are changing in your life. So this is a very, very good, gorgeous and spectacular time to see the unseen for certain momentums into action. So I trust that there are a lot of us that don't really want to know the things that we're up to. We don't really want to see. We're kind of like with our head in the sand. For some people, it's becoming really obvious. And for a lot of people, it is just starting to become. So we have to really, really adjust, as there's certain momentums, there's certain timelines that are not going to get erased and evolved out of very fast. So what I'm trying to say here is, with this beautiful Earth trine in place and the square between the Sun, the Moon, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, Chiron, and Mars, between all of these figures, right, we've got to realize that we are writing as if a golden script on the golden tablet, like we are making an etching, we are leaving a certain mark behind. And for certain people, some of the marks, some of the words, some of the experiences, and certain responsibilities and certain creations, where you invest your time, certain investments are going to come with you for quite a long time. So this is not just about trying things out and putting them back. You can't just go in for something and then draw back and do something else. This is not kind of like an appendix energy. This is not something that goes in and goes out and it's fine. It is something that follows us for a long time. And I believe this is something that can be creating for us for quite a long time to come. So we are not feeling perhaps very usual at this time. There is a likelihood that a lot of people are just waving their hand and say, it's fine, it's all right, it's all right. We can't really do this, although Libra has this incredible brilliance during this time to just sort of wipe things off. It's got this incredible territory during this type of sky, which helps us see when we can just close our eyes and bid things farewell. But honestly, it feels that it's not applicable to many people. Some of us, if we're very relaxed and very knowing, we can see certain patterns develop and we can kind of see their evolution a long time ahead. It is fine for certain people to completely shun the current outcomes and to be able to fully not commit to things. I think that some people can do that and do that very well, but it feels to me that for most of us, we have to consider that this is not possible for many. We can't just wave something goodbye. We can't be a part of something and then not want to be a part of it later. So we have to understand that there's like a golden scroll feeling. This is a very just and justified time. It is a time that requires sobriety. This is the time where you got to read the fine print, and it's really, really important, I believe, for all of us to start to understand and regulate our input and output, what we are doing, how we're treating each other, what are the types of things that we are a part of, also what are the words that we're saying, and how do we belong in this world through some of the certainties that we are signing up for during this month. And I also trust that for many people, and especially with Libra clad charts, it's not one of those youthful and beautiful, relaxing times as Libra might often offer us. It is not really one of those simple times, one of those slightly absent minded times. It's more than that. I actually trust that we are in the beginning of something. So we are at the roots of a future. I feel that for certain people, there is a planting of a seed, as there could be in many new moons. But there's also a feeling, and sometimes Libra, like Libra people, we're very good at numbing ourselves out, and we're very, very amazing at not understanding what is going on, even though inside we're fully capable of understanding. There is this kind of absent-minded energy, which sometimes gives us Libras a bad name. But why this is happening is because underneath there is something else happening. So I've already talked about this in an October video. There is something beneath the surface, and it is undying or unchanging. There is a big plot. Maybe there is a giant reality check. There could be a huge bill or fine. This could also be treasure. This could be an incredible opportunity, or there could be a demise that has to happen before the opportunity is free to arise. So there's like a something stable within us all, and it feels to me there is something unchanging and kind of like, yeah, she'll be right. Yeah, okay. But inside, we kind of all know that there is a hidden link, or there is going to be perhaps a karma or a sequence of events that is not going to be foreseen. And we're kind of asked not to foresee it, or we are kind of starting to see that sometimes what we cannot see or who we cannot detect in our lives, it's kind of like a blessing. And nature sometimes has hidden spots, blind spots, energies without meaning, or just like numb energies for a really good reason. So whether or not it is karmic or clinical, or if there is like a certain demise coming or a certain responsibility, or for some people it's grace and healing and karma returning. It depends on your karmic slate and how you live with yourself and other people. It really does depend on us. This is going to have to start to come through into fruition, or it is going to start to sort of kind of slip into our awareness that sometimes people don't like the feeling of. We sometimes fear, especially as we are in the end degrees of Libra, we can kind of feel it. We can sort of believe it, but we don't want to understand it. We don't want to fully realize it. So, like, sometimes the ego is hurt, or the ego is too far ascended, through a certain process. And this sometimes we can't be fully part of until it sort of dances its dance with us. There's going to be many a dance. So it feels to me that in October, come Scorpio, as we switch from Libra to Scorpio on about the 23rd, but we will fully feel it on the 25th. There's going to be perhaps quite a lot coming to the surface. I feel there's going to be a little dance danced with us. I believe that we're going to be tested. So I already talked about this in the previous video, for faith, for karma, for our inner and outer standards or states of mind. We're going to be asked many questions, and I feel that the trickster energy of Scorpio coming by the end of October has to also, in a sense, be kind. And though sometimes we can fall away from our center, as the center is fully tested and tried during this particular year, as this tipsy-turvy rat energy is going to really signify a lot of things within ourselves and other people and the like. So it feels to me that we have got to be ready and prepared, that there's going to be one or two things coming out from under the surface, and we never had any idea it was there. And also, it is not really about us being able to push on through handle the consequences, or be in part blessed and surprised by a certain thing that is kind of brewing beyond us. It is more just about knowing yourself right at the moment. So before the road gets rocky, before the ship is in turbulence, it is a very, very nice, unquestionable truth, that you need to keep yourself occupied and contained. So, for example, in my case, I've done a lot of work, like for people. I've made a lot of do. So I made promises and I kept those promises. And then now, releasing a lot of that stress, I'm understanding that I need to, for example, clean up and, have a better organized place and organize my diet all over again, things like that. This is not going to be such a big deal, like saying, why are you thinking about this silly stuff? What if there's something really, really intense, happening for you in just a few months? What if there is like a big change brewing? Yeah, but sometimes it is just, I've mentioned this earlier. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. So we have got to set ourselves a really nice, clean slate as to the changes coming, being able to force us into some really crazy repetitive patterns. So, like, the karma can accumulate really fast. If we don't know where we are, if we don't know who we are, if we are stressed out, if we don't know where we're going, if we are clad with paperwork, if we are clad with responsibilities, if we don't quite yet know who we are becoming for all of it, I believe that this bubble on the surface, this next adventure or this next energy is going to really set a lot of people off. And it feels to me that also with this very, very crazy maze making Scorpio, this very unusual, this very multifaceted energy that is coming in by the end of the month, we've got to really have some things right at the moment. Just so that we know, as we're walking in to this really, really ambitious and very upturning time that can make or break us for some people, it can pull us up very far and very fast, or it can just pull us down. It can destroy things. It can destroy, and it can also ascend very, very quickly and very quietly. We have a very, very intense true node here also in Gemini. You see, it's going to be maybe not one but many things coming to the surface at the same time, and you're going to be asked to dance this dance with demons and angels of change, I believe, or like with these large, essential, energetic beings by the end of the month. So we have got to know that whatever and whoever we have in our lives is sound and tranquil and quiet. We have to resolve what we have. It's a good time to, call up that person. It's a good time to ask for money. If somebody's owed you money for a while, it's a good time to finish off the writing and the scripting of a play, or to finish writing a contract. It's a very nice time for will writing, like wills and any kind of specific paperwork that ensures you legally. It's a very, very good, very simple, very, very fruitful time just to connect. Just to connect, and as you are, start this new cycle. Also, we've gone through half a year. So, by the way, this is maybe not important to many people, but I go by the Persian New Year. So I go from the equinox starting with Aries. So to me, the new year begins with Aries for many reasons. And I'm sure if you've watched me for a while, you know that. And then, of course, we have this half year cutoff with Libra. You know what I mean? The opposite of Aries being Libra. So now we are just passing, we're fully past, that point of the DC between Virgo and Libra, and we've gone through Libra. So now we have to really understand the fruitfulness, the kindness, like the gestures of our lives, as we kind of like at a half-year mark almost. And also, some people believe, like for example, in Bali, they have a new year starting with a new moon in Aries, and now we're at the new moon in Libra, so it's a very nice halfway mark. And I trust that we've got to just basically know it now as to who, what, where, and how we have, just so this year so far, so half a year so far, it becomes really nice and packaged. So it's not really too good to overdo it. It's a bit fake to some people. It's not good to over plan. It's not good to overproduce. Maybe it's not so good to, how can I say, over cleanse or like overly commit. But it is a nice feeling. It is a nice feeling when you have a really nice golden center and you hold a nice frequency in your heart of trust and belief. When all your things are folded and ironed, for example, when all your cupboards are full of food that you really like and trust, when all the people that are coming into your life are known and understood and are not causing you any panic or damage, where you are as youthful as you are wise, where you understand the inner symptoms of your heart and of your story, as well as understanding the symptoms of your body. I've talked about this earlier. Going to the doctor during Libra at the moment is really good still. Like checking out those symptoms, finding the worth and who you are. Also, for understanding and recognizing and being able to handle and being able to be abundant in the world that you have. That's not something that the Western mind likes to hear. Just be happy with what you have. Like sometimes some of us can create massive opportunities and massive heights, but they might not be intelligible later on in life. So, with you now, there's probably something or somebody that is going to set you a tempo. It's like a metronome. It's like a certain quota. How fast or how far can you go? How much or how much can you not take into your life? What can you and what should you not handle? What can you not handle? What is the quota or the limit? What are the thresholds that you are working with? What are the communities and the commitments? What types of people? What is the normal baseline? And I see you. A lot of us are like, nah, I'm beyond this. I can't just have this. Like, so what if you've been laying in bed, at the moment, and you've just been watching TV or you've been doing not much? You're like, no, 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 this is not it. This not. I can do better. And sometimes people with the highest feelings of where they fit in and who they are, sometimes they have very low capacity for creation. It's important not to fear that. So for some of us, like, nothing happened. For some of us, we're still living at our mum's house, or we're still like buying the same old bread at the supermarket, or we don't really understand how to control the flow of currency in our life, any currency, energetic, financial currency, emotional currency, anything. We don't understand how to buy and sell. We don't have any understanding of balance. What is whatever worth? We just, for example, indulge. We indulge and then we forget about the day. And that's not a problem either. It's just that we had plenty of time to decide on who we were and how we were. For decades, I mean, truly, we had a huge revolution of consciousness back in the 1960s, of course, and then we had a few more. And we have a couple more yet to come. So I'm just letting you know, like, we had this whole time to organize. We had a lot of time to understand our values. Like, say, we don't maybe need to use plastics. Maybe we don't eat to. We don't need to eat a lot of empty carbs or sugars. Perhaps there's quite a lot of reference available out there. Like healthy lifestyle, everything like that. It's your choice now. So Sometimes we are not knowing, sometimes we don't have it in us to organize, but now there is a feeling that there is not really that much choice to stretch your timeline. You have some packaged beliefs, perhaps, or there is some packaged people or packaged ways in which you spend your time, habits, like habits die hard, as they say, or certain values. And we can't sometimes twist ourselves out of certain situations and certain marriages. I'm not just talking about, relationship type of marriages. I'm saying just like our marriage to our country, our marriage to our way of life, our marriage to what we like to talk about and who we believe that we're going to inevitably be. So all of these minor contracts, say with a packet of biscuits every week, or like with 3 cups of coffee a day, contracts with certain media, TV contracts with unreputable people or desperate people, or a contract with yourself that you cannot break. Also, any kind of possession, I already talked about this. So, psychosis, any kind of demonic possession also was very, very stable this month and should have shown its colors, and you should have seen yourself, I suppose, earlier. If it is still happening, say, overgrowth of like tears, emotional things, really loud, emotional um, energies, they're going to maybe start to become something that you have to work with and understand. And that means to me that for some people, there are going to be not many contracts that they can break from here on. So I'm not telling you that this is impossible. I have been talking about this for months, actually, about 4 months now. There is a time when addiction is easy, like getting addicted is easy. Also, in a way, being available to yourself more is easier as well. So, like, sometimes you can change the unchangeable and shift the course of your whole family, your whole timeline, and the timeline of your brothers and sisters as well. So, I mean, we have one of those now coming to an ending. So, this is when you have proven to yourself what you believe is true and right. Perhaps there was a way that we could have come out of a hereditary illness, disease, or perplexity for a couple of years now since Pig. There were lots of opportunities to curb any kind of obsession with junk food, with substances, with meat, with certain type of sexual or emotional behavior, greed, money, anything. We have a very nice center point now. Okay, so for me, one of the things I've been trying to curb is hereditary depression, which I had for ever. So like that has already come to a nice point of freshness. That's been refreshed. That was really hard. That was really hard to get out of, but here we are now. Through diet, through hygiene, through economical thinking patterns, economical social patterns. Even though this is a hereditary, rooted in disease that cannot be sometimes evaded. I mean, there's been like 4 or 5 generations of women on my mother's side like this. And now I don't have that. And that was hard. But the thing here is that you don't have to, how can I say, put yourself in a corner. So there's certain things that are going to inevitably be not entirely solved because nothing is perfect. I mean, we're talking about Libra sign of perfection truly here. So nothing is perfect. One pattern, one cycle can be replaced by even more ludicrous cycles sometimes, and that is possible as well. So for example, obsession with care is not a good cycle as well. Obsession with perfection, obsession with getting things straight and narrow is not a good cycle. So like this is one of those things is where we have to measure and somehow like also like be sort of wow like amazed as to what came out as that golden center for us. And I see sometimes, it is very surprising as to what comes out as a golden mean. Like, I never thought, for example, for me, that I would ever live rurally. I never thought I would live in the countryside, ever in my life. In my life. So like for yourself also, maybe perhaps There is like a time to spend here to connect to those golden means that perhaps can help us save a lot of inner discourse and time and a lot of mind later on because you're just happy this way. And there is sometimes an unusual feeling as to how you're happy, you know. So, for example, you collect comic books and that just makes you the happiest, or something or somebody came back into your life, also very possible, or you enjoy a certain type of experiences like dance parties and you enjoy substance intake, and that's also okay. So like I'm seeing like a lot of people kind of like, wow, I never thought it would come down to this. And I also have to say, for about a few years actually now, a lot of that which has been coming in and a lot of that which has been on the surface for us has been eternal. So like for example, remembering when you were 6 years old and you used to like use a certain type of material to make, say, dresses for dolls, and now you're 45 and suddenly that material finds you again and you have now yourself a brand, you know, for example. This is like very, very, I suppose, an unusual, unique thing to feel your child self sending you messages or sending you pictures, you know, sending you ideas, you know, sending you little wake up calls, which I believe is great. And that sort of goes to show that a lot of us, when we were children, we already kind of had the optimum blueprint installed, you know, and then through maybe somehow psychological, physical, mental issues, abuse, you know, in the family or in our society, education, and different systems, we've lost that glee. And if you are one of those people that is lucky enough now to experience parts of your younger selves, so like parts of your eternal self coming in, and of course, you know, this is also youthening, yeah? So this is also hormonal rebalancing you can have through this biologically. This can also cause stem cell regeneration, obviously, and other ways in which the body starts to remember itself. And I'm not sure like how to really talk about this. I mean, youth and beauty is not like the hallmark of evolution. It's not really what we need on every level here. But you know, we have a funny society based around that. We have a few societies that are based or like hovering around these question marks, you know, eternal life, you know, youth and beauty. And as I said earlier, Libra is the sign of eternity, especially during this particular year. It's like a really nice center point. And then like we ask ourselves like, why do we care? Why do we bother? You know, with everything, what do we really do to like prolong our life and increase the quality of our sleep, you know, the quality of our dreams, the quality of our time? I think it all comes back to a neutral normality. You know, like for example, sitting with the trees, you know, for many years, listening to the same bird song, you know, and it reforms you every time you hear it, like eating same foods or similar foods. So not trusting like international cuisine, you know, here I am with, you know, all of these flavors in my cupboard. I'm gonna do this today, that tomorrow, and it's gonna give me indigestion and acid reflux, but I'm so used to that, it's fine. So that's where we have to have simple ingredients, you know, that's where we have to have organic eating, you know, this is where we have to have normal, clean, therapeutic, minimalist living. You know, I'm not kidding. This is not like a fashion thing. Like minimalism is actually supposed to be. It is going to help you in your mental states for sure. And no karma is a problem when you have those set things. You know, so having those things in your cupboards, having those set people in your life, having a set value system or a system of ideals. Perhaps you just have one or two different colors in your wardrobe, as do I. You know, maybe you only have one or two things that you use for your skin daily. You know, perhaps you only have those one or two things that you say to yourself sometimes. And it is boring. you know? It is. And yes, I believe that a lot of people would maybe suffer through that depending on the way that they have evolved and their families have developed their genetics. But I also really believe and trust that out of this will come a greatness, you know. Um, it's like a thing Russian people say, "Тише едешь, дальше будешь," which means, the softer your steps or the softer your journey, the further you will go. And we sometimes, look at some people that are at a peak at the top of their game. For example, they're really incredible speakers, they're really incredible dancers, really incredible people that are practical and artistic, recreational people like sports people, and we want to know how they did it. And sometimes also through this timeline, I'm seeing timeline, I'm seeing this huge ego come out and say, who are you to tell me I can't do something? Who are you to tell me that I'm limited? Who are you to tell me this? I understand, but like sometimes, we are fed, especially through Western media, these big, grand scale stories that some people are able to achieve. But did you consider that the journey started with the first step? And then something made the person curious or real enough or interested enough, connected enough to take further steps. And every step creates the next state of mastery. So it's kind of like teaching yourself something. You don't just get an incredible artist out of nothing. There is always a special grand alchemy that walks into any kind of creation of an astounding human being. So, anything from sports to recreational therapies to arts to science to logic, mathematics, I don't know, innovation, politics, like what has come up on top. I mean, I believe that we should already see what comes up on top for ourselves and other people, like what are the main focus points for us? What are the main keys? What are we natural at? Like, what are we good at? How do we enjoy spending our time here learning? What do we learn through? Some people learn through playing the harp, some people learn through plowing a field, but we have to release all of that stuff and understand that if there is an ego, you know, inside now, and I've talked about noticing the ego in all its different colors for a while, throughout this year, in yourself and other people. Oh, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it like this. All of this energy that believes that other people are insignificant, or there is a state of insignificance inside that is hidden with this grandeur. That is quite okay within oneself and others. That is quite okay. But we have to see the wisdom behind the story, how one is available to be for a long time in a certain state, and thus become a master of it. What makes a really good perhaps spouse is because they are consistently there. Or they're capable of dodging those energies and walking out with that mainstream connection or that mainstream value, that mainstream gold within the relationship. So this fear of being mediocre also comes in, the fear of mediocrity, like the fear of not being able to raise the roof sometimes for yourself or other people, or not knowing how to take it to that limit, And that limit is found only sometimes where there is enough resilience and diligence and time and speak and consciousness and karma and alchemy placed to create these large high-rise shifts. And for some people, and I already talked about this back in Virgo, there are prayers answered. Some people are creating amazing things. Some people are walking out of large karmas and embracing a much more beautiful lifestyle. There are some people that are healing. There are some people that are now capable of spending, investing, making, ginormous amounts of money or energy. And that sometimes, for an onlooker is hard. Also, for example, if you have a sibling doing something incredible you're not yet found. And this is where the mind gets you. That lucky, like beginner's luck, or that person's this and this. And that's not true. We have to understand now that however we've come to this golden mean, or somebody else has come to the golden mean at this point, there is a huge process behind it, and there's going to be a giant process after it. So this is not frivolous. Please be careful with your words. If somebody is now creating something also for the first time or as part of their evolution, please be kind. If somebody is learning a musical instrument or has achieved a certain degree of mastery within themselves or through what they do, their art, please be careful, especially when you see a gift come through, especially when you see an opportunity come through for someone, because these are also your opportunities, you know. Coming together as a village, as a community, we're talking like Libra, we're talking representation, coming together, North Node here in Gemini, okay, like coming together, somebody else has a skill you don't have. Like somebody can play an instrument beautifully, someone else can grow beautiful apples, another person has a beautiful house, and this is where we make the new earth. That's how we make it. Can you see? That's how we make it. We already crossed over. We already crossed dimensions. So this is not about that giddy up chase. We can't chase after that lover. We can't chase after that house. We can't chase anymore. Okay, the giddy up. We can't do it. We must understand that we're all kind of quiet about this, perhaps, because it's kind of hard to spill the bean. And here I'm talking about the thing under the surface, okay? But we all kind of found. Okay, we all kind of found. There's something found. And we're going to eventually, like, never mind how and through what shift in karma, I don't know, start to understand that we're found. So you don't need to teach yourself or your children uncompatible skills to try and survive in this world anymore. You don't have to mind your wallet all the time. You don't have to mind your mind all the time. You don't have to push yourself through in the business that doesn't want to love you back. And also with marriages, communities, and stories, we're all found. Underneath it all, we are all kind of obvious to ourselves and each other. There's going to be maybe a state of affairs that's going to be very crucial and very brutal in some people's lives to help those masks fall off. But that's where we're going to, I suppose, start to join. If you were meant to be with someone, it's probably just around the corner or very close. If you were meant to be enjoying a certain lifestyle or working at a certain job, it is more likely much closer to you than you know. It's kind of like the time of large things is done, like big time politics, large this, large that, this and this. We're kind of over it. And we kind of want to make it whole, I believe. I trust that we are now also with stellium, with Jupiter included, fourth house away from the sun. We kind of want to make it whole. Like, come on, you guys, let's make it whole. Let's get all those pieces and just make sure that they work well. And all those other dreams that we had, where we thought that we would find the love of our lives on the internet, whether we have to travel 1,000 seas to get acquainted with something within ourselves, when we thought we had to spend all this money to build or to create a craft, or we had to hire 1 million people to do a very simple job. It doesn't have to be. So it's getting local, So maybe not right now, but in the next 5 or 6 years, also with Saturn walking into Aquarius and Jupiter walking into Aquarius to meet Saturn there, everything like that, we're going to inevitably start to make a home and a country, or sense of country, sense of community, an essence of the new earth through just simple things like local treasures, local ideas, simple ways in life, easy to do things, morning and night, certain protocols, The ancient soul is returning to the planet, so the elders, respect of the elders. There is a certain type of diligence that's needed, if we are going to create a simple world. There's going to be certain type of respect for ourselves and others and other beings as well, and not just humans. And we've got to know how to connect to this feeling now without having to go through a cycle of issue and anger and frustration that is upon us now. So, like Sagittarius, Scorpio is a build up, and Sagittarius is going to be bang, 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 a lot of frequency. And for a lot of people, a lot of lust and a lot of uncontrollable feelings. And in the end, we're still going to come back, snap back to the center that we have now. So we're going to come back to this. Okay. Like right now, it doesn't look like it. You're like, but what if there's like better things coming than this? And a lot of people are like, there's better than this. There's better than this. I can do better than. Yes. Try to connect as much as you can with the most utter nurture and care to that or those people that you have now. Like, really kind. Because you might go spinning, there will be fireworks. For many of us, it's going to be some kind of like a test with lust. There's going to be a test with love. I think that many people are going to fall in love in the wrong way, with the wrong game. Some people, employing, some people skyrocketing, some of this, some of that. Some of this is going to be like a little bit of a circus. Like some of it is coming, like this coming is a little bit of a freak show, like the big numbers, like the big hair, like the big face, like there is going to be some of this coming through. Sorry about the flies in there. And then eventually it's going to all come back to this here. So we're going to from here do like a little circle and come back. So we're just like washing or flushing out all of that ego that by the middle of January should probably be exactly here as we are. So thank you very much. I hope that you have a good journey. Please don't fall. Sometimes it's easy to fall. Stay on track and make things matter that already are. Thank you. Bye.